All right, guys, so I don't really do the public speaking thing, so I'm like hella nervous, so bear with me and my cards, and I apologize. So again, my name is Ariell, and I am a geek. I'm actually Geek of the Week. Thanks, Geekadelphia. Woo! So check that out, because I'm their Geek of the Week this week. Now, I want to say, don't let the packaging fool you. I know that people that look like me aren't necessarily what you think of when you hear the word geek. But rest assured, we are thousands strong, and though we are a rare breed, we are definitely not a dying one. As a black girl and a lover and collector of a number of geeky things, and the slide before showed like a very small portion of the stuff that's in my room, because trust me, my rabbit hole is deep. I often wonder why I love geek culture so much, because if you really think about it, you know, maybe I shouldn't love it as much as I do. Not because the characters aren't interesting or the stories aren't engaging, but because I'm less likely to see people that look like me. I'm an 80s kid, so He-Man, She-Ra, Thundercats, Transformers were my shit growing up. Loved them, loved them, loved them. But the first two didn't really feature any black characters, unless you counted He-Man when he was in He-Man form, because, you know, as a little black girl, I didn't understand the tanning. So I was like, what? I was like, well, why is he brown now? That doesn't, what's happening? So I was really wondering, it was like just a, you know, a cultural disconnect that, you know, clearly as an adult I understand, but as a child I was like, I'm confused. And then the other two, the latter two being Thundercats and Transformers, there were characters that were supposed to be interpreted as being black without actually showing a brown human face. So my question to you, Jazz, and does anyone know who the black Thundercat was? Panthro, exactly. Because that's one thing that I'm not sure if it necessarily translates, but I can assure you every black kid that watched that was like, Panther is a black man. Voiced by a black man, actually Bill Cosby's father in The Cosby Show. But the thing is, like, you know, why is it that we're always like looking for ourselves in these mediums? It's because we long to see ourselves being amazing. We like to see feats of greatness acted out, and we want to be a part of it. Not the sidekick or the peripheral character that's there for laughs. We want to be the hero sometimes too. And when we, especially children, but adults too, are denied those narratives, it weighs on one's understanding of self-worth and even the belief in yourself to conquer the unthinkable. Sorry, I'm shaking because I am nervous. And I know that to be true because as a child, it's something that I struggled with, and something that I struggle with now, because it has been like really ingrained in me by the culture that we live in, that, you know, you're not as good or good enough, you're, you know, always kind of second fiddle. And it's hard to really, even though I'm more aware of myself now, it's hard to like completely shake that off. And so actually my first exposure to a black woman superhero was when Fox's X-Men cartoon debuted in 1992. And at that time I was 9. But I always think that's like crazy because like little white boys had Spider-Man and Superman to look to at a much younger age than 9. So the thing is, when I found out about Storm, I like gripped on tight to her and I never let her go. She's still on my wall. I'm 32. So that being my experience, I can imagine what it's like for other children and adults who want to see people that look like them in the medium that they love. It is important for the growth and health of the medium as a whole, and as the growth and health of the people, for the people who enjoy it. And while I must agree that we are moving in the right direction, when even like the comic giant Marvel has recognized the need for diversity and decided to change up their roster a bit, we must also acknowledge that we still have a long way to go before we have true diversity. I think we've all noticed that the most popular example of diversity in team situations anyway is you might have like 1 or 2 white women, a black guy, and like a green guy. But when we follow and accept this prevailing trend, diversity becomes a formula and not a real depiction of what our world looks like. Black, white, Latino, Asian, Indian, Native American, men, women, boys, girls, straight, gay, bisexual, transgender, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Jewish, and atheist all have the right to be represented as full characters and not just stereotypes or plot devices to move a story forward. And when we start recognizing the humanity of those around us, we actually start to learn about people. When we can pick up a book that features the characters that are different from us and allow ourselves to relate to them, we all benefit. It helps us to dispel our own prejudices, because let's face it, we all have them. You know, that's just one of those pesky side effects of being a human being. And when we get to that place, we will see the things that make us different, but appreciate them. Much like you can't have Buffy without Faith, or Mugen without Jen, or Yorick without Agent 355. They're all different, and they don't always see eye to eye, but you need both pieces of the puzzle for the story to work. They complement each other. So how boring would the world be if we were all the same, all carbon copies of the same person? You know, that I think about that, and that's not a world that I would ever want to live in. So why is it in the fantastical world of fandom, where anything is possible, we keep telling a story from the same perspective over and over and over again? Geek culture has always been a place for outsiders, yet within its borders there are still these barriers to acceptance. And that is why I'm so passionate about opening Amalgam, which is coming this summer, because I want to be a part of changing that, and I hope you do too.